We're here with Chef John Besh, who is a restaurateur in New Orleans. Now, John, you have 5 restaurants?
5 restaurants,
soon to be
open
6?
number 6, that's right.
And so we talked about August before, and now what about Besh Steak?
Well, the cool thing about all the restaurants is that we pull from different parts of that New Orleans culture, and that different parts of the culture, all these cultures that settled in our neck of the woods, leaving its own imprint. And so we kind of trace each restaurant back to one of these many cultures. And so Besh Steak, most people don't think of New Orleans as being a steakhouse town, but let's face it, gave birth to Ruth Chris Steakhouse, and has a whole slew of steakhouses, and had been known for years as a great town to get the steak. And so I wanted to do just a real gregarious, fun and funky steakhouse and restaurant period where people can have just like pure, honest, really great food, but also food that was smarter. A steakhouse that was a bit smarter, where, for instance, we'll take the filet, and the filet is just normally a generic piece of meat that every steakhouse will have, and for that matter, just about any restaurant. So I want to take that filet and serve it over a bed of braised down oxtails or oxtail marmalade.
Oh, meat combining.
Absolutely. And then we create, we remove the beef marrow and smoke the marrow, and then place a pad of smoked beef marrow over the top of it. We take the jus from this oxtail and drizzle the steak with the oxtail jus. And that is like taking every part of the animal and just compressing it into this one dish. And so every dish follows a similar philosophy of using the animal head to toe, and in a great way, in a way that surprises people, in a whimsical manner that makes people smile and make their stomach smile as well.
Yeah, and creating an experience that they can't have anywhere else.
Right.
Yeah, and that's part of.
And it really helped me that I had never really been to a steakhouse before.
Really?
Maybe once or twice in my life before I even opened this one.
Wow.
And I don't know, I'm just kind of where I come from.
But that was a good thing, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
And I never realized that every steakhouse that you go in, or so many of them across the country, you choose the same sides. I mean, no offense, I love cream spinach, but it's kind of old after a while to think of steak has to go with cream spinach or this or this or this. And so I want to create composed plates, and like a chef's steakhouse, and that's what we did, and it's been hugely successful.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. Now, what about Luke?
And Luke is our, which most people know it as Luke, on St. Charles Avenue, beautiful street, right there in the heart of the CBD, just down the street from a really almost iconic restaurant that I grew up with.
Did you say psychotic restaurant?
Iconic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Iconic restaurant, not psychotic.
Don't tell them I said that, whoever owns that restaurant.
Well, the restaurant closed years ago, and it was the last of the great brasseries, the great beer house restaurants of New Orleans. It closed, and at one time, we had about 21 different breweries in the city, and largely in part to the German heritage of so many of the people that came and settled in New Orleans. And so I wanted to tie that style of cooking and eating back into the city's lexicon. And so we created Luke. I did a lot of training. I made my apprenticeship in southern Germany near Freiburg and Breisgau in the beautiful mountains of the Black Forest, and just fell in love with that style of, that country style of eating, the really hearty style. And we had many of those restaurants in New Orleans at one time, and over time, things evolve and we lost them. So I wanted to create a restaurant that really pays homage to that part of our heritage. And so then just down the street from it, I have Domenica. Domenica comes from essentially the focusing on the Italians that came to New Orleans and the influence and the impact that they made on our city, on our gumbo, if you will, and that this is we're so rich due to the Italians in part because heck, I think by the year 1920 there wasn't an English or French speaking grocer in New Orleans. They had all been taken over by the Italians. And the Italians operated a lot of the farms on the north shore of Lake Pontchartrain, just outside of the city, and they were supplying the city, and they kept the city fed for heck, over a century and a half now. And so I wanted to create a restaurant, again, that paid homage to the Italians that came. Then we have, opening down the street from Domenica, we have the American sector, and which is, I'm just almost in awe of, because the setting is the National World War II Museum. And it's just an honor for me, one, as a chef and as an American and as a New Orleanian, but also as a former Marine, to give back a little something to that generation. So we're creating 2 venues there. The American sector, which is basically a play on the 1940s diner, and then we also have the Stage Door Canteen, which is next door.
What a great
mimics
name.
the Stage Door canteens of New York, of Paris, and of Brussels during the mid to late 1940s. Places where the GIs could go to have a great live entertainment, and then also be served a meal by the artists as well. And
What
so that's going to
fun.
be a lot of fun.
Will there be entertainment?
Live entertainment at the Stage Door Canteen, and next door, just good American diner food. The name comes from the name of the neighborhood that the National World War II Museum is actually in, which is better known as the Warehouse District. But after Louisiana Purchase, it was given the name the American sector, because that was just this tiny little foothold that the Anglo-Americans had any sort of a foothold in the city. And so really until after the Civil War, there hadn't been an American presence down there. So I want to pay homage to that neighborhood, and also to the American heritage, if you will, of the city.
Now, John, what is your family's heritage?
Well, we're mutts. We come from all over. We're
but like your
Germans and
grandparents,
Irish. Germans and Irish, and so it's just, again, I think that had a lot to do with why I decided to go to Germany to have for my apprenticeship. But it's been incredibly rich, really exploring, what did the Germans bring? And they brought a lot of our charcuterie to New Orleans. They brought us andouille sausage. They settled the area up the river called the German coast, or des Allemands, and that's where a lot of those people settled. The Irish came in. They were poor immigrant workers willing to do whatever to make a claim in the city. And so what you had in New Orleans was really interesting. You had all these cultures that came in. I'll oftentimes say the gumbo pot is the Jesse tree of New Orleans cooking, because every person that came in left an imprint on that gumbo through this constant evolution. It continues to grow even still today.
Well, John Besh is in Houston. Today is October 13th, 2009. He's in Houston promoting his new book called My New Orleans, the Cookbook, and it is a beautiful book, a very heavy book.
That's
he
right.
said it
is
weighs
heavy.
over 5 pounds.
5 pounds, 2 ounces.
Yeah, it's $45, and I think it would make a great holiday gift, John. Very nice.
Highly encourage it.
Very good. All right. Thank you, Chef John Besh.
Thank you so much.